I owe my 20-something self the biggest apology. As a 31-year-old woman, I want to talk through what I want to apologize to my younger self about, in hopes that maybe it helps heal something that you're going through right now. In my 20s, I had such big dreams, and I still have such big dreams. But if I could summarize my 20s with one thing, it would be me trying to work past my self-doubt, but this other voice in my head kind of keeping me in that self-doubt. And that's why I really want to apologize to my younger self, because I was standing in her way. Like, I was standing in her way. And if there's anything I wish I could do, it would be to go back and just encourage her and let her know that she's right about a lot of things, and let her know to trust her gut a lot more than she was, to let her know to stop doubting herself and to just choose to believe that she was created to do something great instead of waiting for permission to do those things. That self-doubt, it manifested itself in so many ways. Like, there were so many layers to it. A huge example of that was even just how I felt in my own body. There were so many times where I just wanted to feel good. Like, I wanted my internal narrator to give me permission to feel good. Even with the goals that I had, even if I was trying to lose weight, even if I was going to the gym and trying to focus on my body goals, I never allowed myself to feel good in that moment. Like, I would try, but then I would gaslight myself and be like, no, you don't deserve to feel good. Like, on what grounds do you deserve to feel good? So I just feel like I owe her an apology, because that voice that was in our head was just so mean. And now that I'm more mature and I've really worked on that voice, I wish I could give this voice to her, because I feel like she needed it so much more than the version of me now. I mean, I still need it, but I wish I could just go back and tell her that she's figuring it out, and that the whole purpose of her 20s or her life in general was to figure it out. Like, there's no deadline. You're not supposed to have it figured out by a certain time. And I like to say that, like, life is not about being right. Life is about finding right. You're finding right. And when you look at it through that perspective, the judgment kind of washes away, because the failure becomes a normal part of the process. It's not this thing that you should feel so ashamed of. It's actually this thing that indirectly is helping you do the thing you're supposed to be doing. Like, if my objective is to find the right person, to find the right career, to find the right living space, whatever it is, then anything that I've discovered is wrong is actually a closed door that will help me find what's right. Like, it's not this negative thing that is 10 steps back. The way I used to talk to myself is like, oh, you just took 10 steps back, you just regressed, or you're supposed to be in this career, but you wasted time in that career. Like, that voice was so unforgiving, and I just owe her such an apology for being so judgmental, for being so harsh. I talked about this a little bit in another video, but I owe her an apology for being confusing. Like, on some levels, I made her feel like she was not enough, but then on other levels, I made her feel like she was too much. So it's like, you're not good enough for these things, but you do too much in these other areas. And it's like, what a confusing message. I do not blame her for having these moments where she's just so confused and trying to understand where she actually belongs, because it figuratively felt like she was being pulled at two arms in two different directions. The 20-something version of me really felt like she was too emotional, like she was too expressive, like she talked too much and she expressed herself too much. And it's so ironic, because it's like, look what I'm doing now. Like, this is the thing I'm leaning the most into. So I owe her an apology, because I wish she was given the permission to do this, something that feels so right and so healing, 10 years ago. But then on the other end, I'm like, okay, well, you're not good enough for these types of relationships, or the reason you haven't found your person is because you haven't healed enough, or you're not whole enough, or you're not grounded enough. Like, there was so much messaging that was being ingrained in her head that she was not enough, when in reality, like, she's so much more than enough. And this version of me couldn't even be half of who I am right now without her. That's how enough she was. And that's how enough she will always be. Not to be like Lion King, but that 20-something version of me lives in me. She's the reason I'm so proud of myself today, is because of who she was. All the versions of her that she evolved into in order to create this version of me. She's the one that went through all of the things that she had to go through to give me the wisdom and perspective that I have. I would not have any of that. I owe all of that to the version of me who went through all of those things and who did all of this trial and error and who failed at certain relationships and who career pivoted 3 times. Like, if it wasn't for her, I would not be who I am today. And it's just so wild to think that. I really, really, really want this to speak to someone who is in their 20s, in the middle of the storm, feeling unsure about your career, about your life, about your relationships, all of the above, and wondering why. You might not know why right now, but you're going to know why when you're supposed to know why. All I want for you, because I couldn't do this for my 20-year-old self, so it would make me feel so much better if I could help you with this right now. All I want for you is to accept that, especially when you don't know why, there's a reason. Especially when you don't know why, it is being used in your favor. Especially when you don't know why, there will be a future version of you who is so grateful for what you're going through right now and how you chose to handle it. There will be a future version of you who is so grateful and who will thank you endlessly for how you chose to handle the exact period you are in right now. I want you to know that. I am so sure about that. Please don't add another layer of pain onto what you're already experiencing by judging yourself for it. If there is anything that I owe my 20-something self an apology for, it's the judgment and shame I piled onto her for going through what she was going through. It was hard enough that she had to go through some of the things that she went through during that time. I just wish I let her go through it gracefully and learn what she was supposed to learn and evolve into who she was supposed to be, instead of being another layer of pain on top of that. I owe her such an apology for that. And my way of trying to apologize and heal that version of me is by helping you see this phase that you're in through the lens of you're literally exactly where you're supposed to be. Even if you don't like where you're at, you are literally exactly where you're supposed to be, because it is doing something in you that the future version of you, the one that you like and admire, requires of you right now. The version of you that you're dying to be, the one on your Pinterest board, she needs you to go through what you're going through right now in order for her to be as admirable and amazing and confident as you want her to be. I'm speaking from the perspective of like my child self. I have a picture here. I've never showed anyone this picture, but this was me in 7th grade. I don't know who I thought I was. I think I was in 8th grade. Yeah, I was in 8th grade here. But I was like coming into like thinking I'm this woman. She would think I'm so freaking cool right now. Like, you don't even understand. Like, she would look at me right now and be like, who is that? She's cute. Who is that? She's so confident. Because she wasn't. Like, this version of me, no confidence. I tried to. Let it focus. Look at my eyebrows, so embarrassing. But my hair, my shirt says high maintenance. Like, I was trying to think I was cute. I was trying to feel confident, but I didn't. I felt so small. I felt so powerless. And seeing this version of me, it would make the rest of her life. I want you to know that there is a future version of you, and it might be very soon. It might be very soon. It might be way sooner than you think, that you are looking up to, that you're obsessed with, that will make you so excited. But you need to go through what you're going through now to create that future version of you. And I'm not saying that to romanticize the pain that you're experiencing, but I think we can both agree that when the pain feels purposeful, you can endure it much better than if the pain feels just frivolous and pointless. Understand that your pain is very purposeful, and it's working towards a cause that you would be really, really, really excited about. I know firsthand how scary things feel, especially when they're so uncertain. I'm here to tell you that this version of you, the one that's going through it, is probably the most badass version of you. I look back on my 20-something-year-old self and I think she's a badass. Like, I'm so proud of her. I think she's so freaking cool. I said this in another video, but I said if I could go back, I wouldn't hug her. I would clap. I'm humbled by her. Me. The version of me that she wanted to be, I'm humbled by her. I'm in awe of her because her wisdom and her strength, the way she believed about herself, was so much bigger than her environment. Like, she was able to see something that she could not see firsthand. This version of me is cool and all, but I've seen enough now to where my visions make sense. At that time, my vision made no sense. I was literally the epitome of Delulu is the Sululu, and I admire her so much for that because I don't even know where I had that belief in myself, and I just wish I let her do it. I wish I wasn't standing in the way of that. I wish I just let her believe in herself the way she really, really, really wanted to. I wish I gave her full permission to believe that she was destined for greatness and that she was powerful. You can give yourself that permission right now. I hope that you don't wait for 5, 10 years where you're making a video like this or writing in your journal saying you wish something about that time period. I want nothing more than for you to decide right now that you can give yourself full permission to believe in yourself, that you can give yourself full permission to see yourself the way that you're yearning to see yourself. I love you so, so, so much. And as always, stay powerful, my love.